Britney Spears and a 911 call that allegedly changed everything. But what really happened? Did her family actually force their way into her home? Was there a tearful emergency call that exposed shocking family secrets? The internet is flooded with dramatic claims, viral videos, and sensational headlines about this incident. But how much of it is true? Today, we're diving deep into the verified facts, examining the actual 911 calls, and separating real events from manufactured drama. The truth is more complicated than the clickbait suggests. Before we examine these 911 call claims, we need to understand who Britney Spears is and why her story matters so deeply to millions of people worldwide. Britney isn't just another celebrity. She's a cultural phenomenon who defined pop music for an entire generation. Rising to superstardom in the late 1990s with hits like Baby One More Time and Oops, I Did It Again, Britney became one of the best-selling music artists of all time. She sold over 100 million records globally, won numerous awards, and influenced countless artists who came after her. Her impact on pop culture, fashion, and music videos cannot be overstated. But Britney's story took a dark turn in the mid-2000s. Facing intense media scrutiny, struggling with personal issues, and dealing with a very public divorce, Britney experienced highly publicized difficulties in 2007 and 2008. The paparazzi documented her every move, often in the most invasive and harmful ways. The world watched as she struggled, and rather than receiving compassion, she became the subject of ridicule and exploitation. These struggles led to a legal arrangement that would control her life for nearly 14 years and spark a global movement for her freedom. Her public battles with mental health, autonomy, and family relationships have made her a symbol for conversations about celebrity exploitation, mental health stigma, and legal reform. This context is crucial because it explains why any news about Britney, especially involving emergency calls or family conflict, generates such intense public interest and concern. People who followed her conservatorship battle are protective of her and quick to believe she might be in danger. So what exactly is this conservatorship that dominated Britney's life for so long? And how does it connect to these 9/11 call rumors? In 2008, following her very public struggles, Britney Spears was placed under a legal conservatorship. This is a court-ordered arrangement typically reserved for elderly individuals or people with severe cognitive impairments who cannot make decisions for themselves. The court appointed Britney's father, Jamie Spears, as her conservator, giving him extensive control over her personal and financial life. Under this conservatorship, Britney could not make basic decisions without approval. She couldn't control her own finances, choose her own medical treatments, make decisions about her career, or even simple things like getting married or having more children without permission. Her father controlled virtually every aspect of her existence. What made this situation particularly disturbing is that during these 13 years, Britney continued to work at an extraordinarily high level. She released multiple albums, headlined a Las Vegas residency, served as a judge on The X Factor, and maintained a rigorous performance schedule. She was deemed capable of earning millions of dollars through demanding professional work, but simultaneously deemed incapable of managing her own life. The conservatorship was supposed to be temporary, a short-term intervention during a crisis. Instead, it lasted from 2008 until November 2021, nearly 14 years. During that time, Britney made multiple attempts to end or modify the arrangement, but the courts repeatedly maintained it. The legal fees associated with the conservatorship were paid from Britney's own estate, meaning she was funding the very system that controlled her. Her father received compensation for serving as conservator. The entire arrangement generated significant income for lawyers, accountants, and others involved, while Britney herself had no control over her own money. This conservatorship became one of the most controversial legal arrangements in recent celebrity history, sparking conversations about disability rights, autonomy, and the exploitation of people under guardianship. It also created an atmosphere of distrust regarding Britney's family, particularly her father and made fans hypervigilant about any signs she might be in danger. With this background established, let's examine the actual 911 call that has some basis in verified reality. Here's what we know from verified, credible reporting. Britney Spears did make a 911 call in June 2021, the night before a crucial court hearing where she would publicly testify about her conservatorship. This is documented fact, reported by major news outlets including The New Yorker, which broke the story. According to The New Yorker's investigation, Britney called 911 to report herself as a victim of conservatorship abuse. This wasn't a call about family members breaking into her home or a physical altercation. It was Britney attempting to create an official record of her allegations against the conservatorship system before her testimony. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department confirmed receiving the call and that it was transferred to the appropriate jurisdiction. However, the actual audio recording of this call has never been publicly released. It remains sealed as part of the ongoing legal proceedings and privacy protections. This is critically important to understand. We don't have the recording. We don't know Britney's exact words. We don't know the specific details she reported during that call. What we have are reports about the call's existence and its general nature, that she was reporting conservatorship abuse. The call did not result in any immediate police intervention at her home. There were no arrests, no emergency response rushing to her residence, and no documented incident of family members being removed from her property. The call was documented and became part of the larger legal case against the conservatorship. The timing of the call is significant. It occurred just before Britney would deliver explosive testimony in court, where she publicly detailed the restrictions and alleged abuses she experienced under conservatorship. The 911 call appears to have been part of her strategy to build a case for ending the legal arrangement. But this verified 911 call is very different from the dramatic family forcibly enters home narrative spreading online. So where did that specific claim originate? The claim that Britney's family forcibly entered her home, causing her to make a tearful 911 call, is not supported by any credible news reporting from verified sources. No major news outlet, not the New York Times, not CNN, not People magazine, not Entertainment Tonight, has reported such an incident. So where did this narrative come from? It appears to be a combination of misinterpreted events, social media speculation, and deliberate misinformation designed to generate clicks and views. Some YouTube channels and gossip websites have taken the verified 2021 conservatorship abuse 911 call and added completely fabricated details about family members breaking into her home. They've combined this with unrelated incidents, creating a false narrative that sounds dramatic and shareable, but has no basis in reality. Fan forums and social media platforms have amplified these false claims, with users sharing breaking news without verifying sources. On platforms like TikTok and Twitter, dramatic claims spread rapidly, often presented as fact, even when they're pure speculation or invention. The persistent distrust of Britney's family, particularly her father Jamie Spears, has made fans predisposed to believe the worst. Given the verified abuses of the conservatorship system, people are understandably protective and quick to assume family members might be causing harm. This emotional investment makes false claims more believable and more likely to be shared. It's also possible that people have confused different incidents from different time periods, merging the 2021 911 call with other unrelated events involving police or emergency services at Britney's residence. The result is a viral false narrative that sounds plausible, given Britney's history, but has no factual foundation. To understand the full picture, we need to examine other actual incidents involving emergency services and Britney's home. There have been several legitimate incidents involving emergency services and Britney Spears that are documented and verified, though none match the forcible entry narrative circulating online. In May 2024, paramedics were called to the Chateau Marmont Hotel in Los Angeles, where Britney was staying. Initial reports suggested a serious medical emergency, sparking concern among fans. However, Britney herself quickly addressed this incident on social media, explaining that she had twisted her ankle and that the emergency response was disproportionate to the actual injury. She described feeling embarrassed and harassed by the response. During the conservatorship years, there were documented instances of welfare checks at Britney's home. These were sometimes initiated by concerned fans, occasionally by prank callers, and at times by people genuinely worried about her well-being. Police would arrive to verify she was safe, find no emergency, and leave. These incidents were documented by local news outlets, but did not involve family members forcing entry. In 2013, a fake 911 call reported a shooting at Britney's home, a malicious prank known as swatting. Police responded in force only to discover it was a hoax. This terrifying incident had nothing to do with family conflict, but showed how emergency calls related to Britney could make headlines. It's important to distinguish between these various incidents. A twisted ankle requiring paramedics is fundamentally different from alleged abuse. A welfare check initiated by concerned strangers is different from a family confrontation. A malicious prank call is different from a genuine emergency. The problem occurs when these separate incidents get conflated, combined, or misrepresented to create false narratives that sound plausible because they contain elements of truth mixed with fiction. Understanding these incidents requires also understanding the movement that fought for Britney's freedom and why her supporters remain vigilant. The hashtag Free Britney movement became one of the most successful celebrity advocacy campaigns in modern history, ultimately contributing to the end of Britney's conservatorship in November 2021. The movement began with fans who noticed inconsistencies in Britney's social media posts, questioned why a woman capable of performing sold-out shows needed such extensive legal control, and researched conservatorship law to understand the injustice of her situation. These fans organized protests, created awareness campaigns, and pushed for media coverage of the issue. In June 2021, Britney delivered explosive testimony in court, speaking publicly about the conservatorship for the first time. She revealed shocking details. She was forced to perform against her will, prevented from removing an IUD despite wanting more children, required to take lithium that made her feel drunk, and prohibited from making basic life decisions. Her testimony was devastating and validated many concerns the hashtag Free Britney movement had raised. The testimony shifted public perception dramatically. What some had dismissed as conspiracy theories from overzealous fans was revealed to be genuine abuse and exploitation. Major news outlets began seriously investigating the conservatorship system and Britney's case specifically. By November 2021, after additional legal battles and significant public pressure, the conservatorship was terminated. Britney was finally free after nearly 14 years. This victory made her supporters even more protective and vigilant about her well-being. Any hint that she might be in danger or being controlled generates immediate concern and action. This protective instinct, while understandable and often well-intentioned, can also make fans vulnerable to believing false claims without proper verification. So what is Britney's actual relationship with her family now, years after gaining her freedom? Britney has been open about her strained relationships with family members following the end of the conservatorship. She has publicly criticized her father, Jamie Spears, her mother, Lynn Spears, and her sister, Jamie Lynn Spears, through social media posts and interviews. Britney has stated she felt betrayed by family members who she believes prioritized financial gain over her well-being during the conservatorship. She has described feeling hurt by what she perceives as their failure to protect her or advocate for her freedom. These are her experiences and feelings, which she has every right to express. Her relationship with her sister, Jamie Lynn, became particularly strained after Jamie Lynn published a memoir that discussed Britney. Britney publicly criticized the book and denied some of its characterizations, leading to very public family conflict. However, and this is crucial, strained family relationships, hurt feelings, and even estrangement do not equal forced home invasions or physical confrontations. People can have terrible family dynamics without those dynamics involving criminal behavior or emergency situations. Britney's criticisms of her family are valid expressions of her feelings about past treatment. But we must be careful not to extrapolate from documented emotional hurt to unverified claims of ongoing physical threats or forced entries. Respecting Britney means respecting the truth, both the verified harms she experienced and the importance of not spreading false claims about her current situation. This brings us to why false narratives about Britney spread so rapidly and why that matters. Celebrity news exists in a perfect storm for misinformation. Platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram reward sensational content with views, engagement, and money. Creators have financial incentives to make the most dramatic claims possible, regardless of accuracy. Britney's story in particular has elements that make false claims believable. Verified past abuse, ongoing family conflict, mental health struggles, and a history of people exploiting her. When someone claims Britney in tears after family forces entry, it sounds plausible given what we know happened during the conservatorship. Fan communities, while often supportive, can also amplify misinformation. The hashtag Free Britney movement's success came partly from aggressive advocacy and skepticism of official narratives. But that same skepticism can make supporters believe dramatic claims without demanding the same evidence they'd require for other stories. The result is an ecosystem where truth and fiction blur together, where concern for Britney's well-being gets mixed with invented drama, and where the real story becomes impossible to separate from manufactured outrage. This harms Britney by keeping her constantly surrounded by false narratives rather than allowing her to control her own story. Outro. The truth. Britney made a real 911 call about conservatorship abuse. The forced entry claim? Unverified internet fiction. What do you think drives these rumors? Comment below and subscribe for fact-based coverage.